Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 192. In the Coffin Tomb. The self-destruction of one of their comrades didn't attract the attention of the other three undead guards. They acted as if they didn't hear anything and continued to launch fierce attacks at them. The fear in Su Chang's eyes quickly dissipated. It wasn't as if there was no precursor to their self-destruction. As long as they avoided the red cracks on their bodies, they would be safe and sound. Li Zhu and guards of Cao Ying were turned into ashes by the self-destruction of the undead guards. Mu Lin was also sent flying. He had suffered a serious injury. Under the fearless attacks of the three undead guards, Su Chang and the other two, who each had their own ulterior motives, were unexpectedly at a disadvantage. Xiao Yan hid behind a huge rock not far away. He glanced at Mu Lin, who was flying backwards not far away from him. Mu Lin's ki was extremely weak and his face was pale. The self-destruction of the Monarch Emperor level expert was not something that he could easily handle, even though he was only affected by the aftershock. He looked at the three of them who had fallen into a deadlock with the dead spirit corpse guards. Mu Lin gritted his teeth. These guys were as cunning as foxes. None of them were willing to use their full strength, fearing that they would be at a disadvantage. With his current strength, he might only be slightly stronger than Lao Zheng. At that time, he would definitely be in a disadvantageous position if he were to fight for the treasure. Thinking of this, Mu Lin's eyes flashed. He was still lying on the ground as he quickly calculated in his heart. At the same time, he secretly took out a pink medicine pill. He looked at it with a pained expression and swallowed it without hesitation. When the medicine pill entered his stomach, Mu Lin's face immediately flushed red, and his chaotic ki quickly returned to normal. Cao Ying moved his fat body to deal with the attack of the undead corpse guard in front of him. He merely used 80% of his strength to stop the attack. Hence, although he appeared to be in an extremely miserable state on the surface, the order in his hands was not the slightest bit chaotic. Out of the corner of his eye, he looked at Su Chang and Chen Rong. Like Cao Ying, the two of them didn't use all of their strength. While observing the other two, they slowly moved toward the cave. However, no one dared to try to enter the cave. After all, the previous gang ki had left a deep impression on them. Lao Zheng and Cao Ying joined hands. Similarly, they fought a death corpse guard to a draw. They didn't have the intention to kill it quickly. Bang! When the battle reached a deadlock, a deafening shaking sound suddenly came from the stone cave. The people who were fighting were shocked and subconsciously looked over. The coffin of the death spirit corpse guards, which was originally crawling out, was now. A thick arm slowly stretched out from the coffin and grabbed the armrest of the coffin. A crimson seal instantly appeared on the coffin. As soon as the seal appeared, the coffin immediately let out an angry roar, as if the roar came from the land of the 9 underworlds. It caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Boom! Bang! His extended arm was flowing with magma-like blood. His 5 fingers formed a fist and ruthlessly smashed onto the scarlet red seal. A drum-like sound rang out, as if it was ringing in everyone's hearts. The light of the seal dimmed intensely along with it. Threads of terrifying aura slowly flowed out from within, causing everyone's expressions to change. What's inside? Xiao Yan looked at the giant fist in the cave in shock. For some reason, when he sensed the ki flowing out of the seal, his heart suddenly became agitated without any warning. A trace of fear could not help but spread from the depths of his heart to his entire body. Su Chang's face turned pale when he sensed this ki. This ki had actually reached the Emperor cultivation. We can't let that thing come out. Destroy the coffin, Su Chang bellowed. He was no longer in the mood to think about the treasure. If he allowed the unknown thing to break the seal, the only thing awaiting them would be death. In front of an Emperor cultivation warrior, a Monarch Emperor warrior would not be able to do much. With this thought, Su Chang's aura changed. He unleashed all of his strength, and the dark green longsword shone brightly. The blade buzzed, and following Su Chang's furious shout, it was like a sword from the heavens that could cut through mountains and rivers. It rushed towards the undead guards in front of it. The next moment, the light had already penetrated the chest of the dead spirit corpse guard. The dead spirit corpse guard's fist suddenly stopped. Its body was instantly covered with spiderweb-like crimson cracks. Su Chang cursed in his heart. His body flashed, and he rushed towards the distance. These guys were really giving him a headache. Even if he was killed, he would still have to self-destruct. At the same time that Su Chong roared out, Chen Rong was startled by the key that was coming out from the seal. His instinct after being in star-severing mountain range for so many years allowed him to react immediately. Knowing that it was no longer the time to scheme, he let out an angry roar and unleashed all of his strength. In an instant, he had gained the upper hand. Force Spirit Emperor technique. After sending the Death Spirit Corpse guards flying with a single punch, Chen Rong's facial expression suddenly became serious. Both of his hands quickly formed a dazzling handprint, which followed the handprint. The Origin Monarch key around his body also began to surge wildly, resonating with the Origin Monarch key within his body from a distance. In an instant, 4 Origin Monarch key formed from spirit beasts took shape behind him. Xiao Yan, who was attracted by the aura that suddenly erupted from Chen Rong's body, couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the 4 spirit beasts. Vermilion bird, black tortoise. Azure dragon, white tiger. The 4 spirits. He had also heard from his teacher that the 4 spirits were the holy spirits blessed by the heavens and earth. They were unimaginably powerful, but they had already disappeared in the divine ancient era. For tens of millions of years, as long as they were their descendants. Their strength had reached a terrifying level. They were the guardians of the forest domain, the azure ancient profound bird. It was only one of the hundreds of descendants of the vermilion bird, and speaking of Xiao Ao, it could also be considered the descendant of the azure dragon. As for Chen Rong's monarch skill, it had completely condensed the image of the 4 spirits. Although they were small in size, the energy contained within their bodies surprised Xiao Yan. After the complicated hand seal was formed, Chen Rong let out a breath with a pale face. He pushed his palm forward. In an instant, the roars of tigers, the roars of birds, and the roars of turtles suppressed the sound of drums in the coffin. Kai! 4 brilliant lights shot out explosively like meteors. They penetrated the chest of the Death Spirit Corpse Guard without any hindrance. The movement of the Death Spirit Corpse Guard suddenly stiffened. The crack on its body had yet to appear, but it had already quietly vanished and turned into nothingness. What a powerful monarch skill! Su Chong, who was just about to leave the explosion of the Death Spirit Corpse Guard, saw Chen Rong's sudden eruption of powerful strength. His facial expression changed, and his pupils shrunk to the size of pinholes. Even an ordinary monarch arts would not have such power. Thinking of this, Su Chong looked at the trembling seal in the cave with a strange expression. Then, he looked at Chen Rong, who was gasping for breath. Boom! The undead corpse guards that were killed by Su Chong suddenly exploded. Another wave of landslide spread out from the center of the explosion. The entire cave shook violently. The huge aftershock of the explosion rushed into the cave, causing the light of the seal inside to become dimmer. Boom! Before the aftershock of the explosion faded away, the existence underneath the coffin tomb roared once again. It threw out a punch and the dim seal finally dissipated. Following a joyful roar, another huge arm extended out. A monstrous aura surged out like a tidal wave, causing the entire tomb to tremble. Not good. Lao Zheng let out a loud cry. He abandoned Cao Ying and appeared beside Lao Zheng in a flash. His expression was grave as he looked at the existence that was about to appear in the cave. His forehead was covered in sweat. It's over. When he saw the seal disappear from the coffin tomb, Cao Ying was shocked. He could sense the key of an emperor cultivation. All the hairs on Cao Ying's body stood up. He and the others had already been locked down by the key in the coffin. It was impossible for them to escape now. They had to survive. There was only one way left. Thinking of this, Cao Ying's expression turned ruthless. Immediately, he abandoned the undead corpse guards in front of him. The undead corpse guards remained expressionless as they chased after him relentlessly. Cao Ying smiled sinisterly. Since they had no choice but to fight, no matter who it was, they could forget about being the fishermen. Xiao Yan's facial expression changed when he saw Cao Ying leading the undead guards towards his hiding place with a ferocious smile. He then sneered and clenched his fists tightly. Sure enough, this guy didn't have a good heart. Arg! Following a furious roar that resounded across the entire underground tomb, the existence within the coffin finally crawled out from within. Its might intimidated everyone. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.